What is up, everyone, and welcome back. For those of you that don't know, Duran Gray have released their highly anticipated new single, The World of Mercy. The track was teased and previewed a bit last week. Fans started getting a hold of it on the 17th of September, and today, as I shoot this, it is the 18th of September, the official day of release for the brand new single. And it is a long one, ladies and gentlemen. Clocking in at 10 minutes and 22 seconds. It's released strategically to help support the U.S. dates for Duran Gray's North American tour. That is going to happen in December, as well as some more follow-on European dates early in 2020. I'm looking forward to it. Once again, the track was recorded and mixed at Lancaster Audio under the supervision of Dan Lancaster. I'm looking forward to hearing if the changes to the mix have happened or if it's still similar to what we experienced on Insulated World. I'm looking forward to the soundscapes that we are presented with and what we get from it. As with any Duran Gray track, especially one of this type of length, I fully expect to not grasp everything in the first listen. But as always, I will give you my experienced, knowledgeable opinion on what I'm hearing the first time and possibly revisit it at a later date if people request it. So let's get into this one, shall we? I'm not actually using the official video. I'm going to use the audio I have available to me, so I'm getting the best audio that I can. This is coming straight out of my iTunes here. It is World of Mercy by Japanese Visual Kei legends Duran Gray. And here we go. Got the lyrics up in a separate window. They're a bit more simple for what I'm used to with Duran Gray, but still powerful. The mix is so much better. The guitar tones are really rich and lush. The electronics sound fantastic. Really warm mix too. The vocal layering is outstanding. Getting a really nice bit of reverb and a touch of delay on that vocal. Like how they're using the electronic percussion there to really thicken out the middle of it. Almost reminds me a bit of what I would expect from Industrial era of Godhead. It's a gorgeous mid-range that he's using. Oh, the dissonance from those guitar riffs. Those tones are really well crafted. Nice to hear Kyo using a bit more of that vibrato. I do feel like the drums are mixed a bit too forward, and you're getting some breakup there. Some of those frequencies are definitely peaking. Bass is massive. I like where that accent line is placed with the guitars there in the mix. These vocals here almost remind me of an 80s pop song. Really love how he's singing. Beautiful transition there. The soundscapes are absolutely gorgeous. The track is building very well. That bell sample, the little nuances that are popping up really help build the moods. Definitely get a very Danny Carey-like feel from the tom usage that Shinya is doing here, back there behind the kit. The riffs are really kind of taking a back seat. They're very simple. They're just helping guide the track and the vocal along here, which is really driving things. Love that tone and that reverb they're able to get. It's a very well-used passage there from Shinya drum-wise, but it works. There's that new wave of Swedish death metal influence, that tremolo-picked riffing you expect from bands like In Flames and Dark Tranquility. Very much a DSS feature. This chaotic passage was expected, and it's what I expect from it. It's very simple, very stripped. The drumming is pure, aggressive Shinya. Love those riffs and those bends. The way that riff bends really adds so much to it. I don't think the riff would sound nearly as good without that transition from out of that bend and back into the riff. I'm really curious to know where they're going to take this. Really interesting textures there. Love that deep, resonant tone that's just warbling through the headphones there. Love the real nuance of the accent guitar riffs. That semi-clean tone is awesome. The piano back there really helps to build a moment. Once again, this heavy part is very familiar. You've heard it before. It works, but you've heard it before. Love the breaks and the grit in his voice. I actually think this is probably some of the best I've heard his deep aggressive sound. I like how they've taken his vocals and made a very chorus-like effect there. That's an awesome, awesome texture. Interesting way to come out of that. I might have ended it on that tremolo picked riff as opposed to kind of going heavy and then just letting the guitar and bass tones ring out to the end of that. All right, that was The World of Mercy by Darren Gray. And there's some really great points to the track. But I don't know if I love the track as a whole. It's a really interesting feeling. The mix sounds outstanding. I wish the Insulated World sounded that good from a mix perspective. It's very clear that the guys at Lancaster Audio really looked at what they did before, heard some of the critiques, mine included, and made some changes. Mix sounds really good. I still do think those drums are a bit forward. They sound gigantic, though. They really do. But they definitely dominate part of the mix. And there are some points where, especially when Keo is being a bit more nuanced and a bit more delicate and tender in his delivery, those higher, more delicate passages that he's using vocally get buried in a couple of spots. I'd really have to go through the track spot by spot and pick out where I'm hearing it, but it happened in the first couple of minutes. The guitars sound great. You can certainly get a bit of Kuru in there, that more technical style of writing that he has, that more articulate style of writing that he does, as opposed to the way Dye writes. But creatively and compositionally, it feels like they wanted to make the track Darren Gray very hard. Like, they took a lot of elements that you've heard before in Darren Gray tracks and they combined them to make The World of Mercy. I think it builds well. You definitely get some of that old school Shinya or Danny Carey influence in the almost tribal Tom Ladden drum parts in the more moody and atmospheric passages. you certainly get the DSS when they go chaotic, if you will. And they really do lean on the new wave of Swedish death metal style, that Gothenburg style of riffing. Those layered, tremolo picked passages that are very Gothenburg melodic death metal. That signature hallmark from them bands like Out the Gates, In Flames, Dark Tranquility, early Soilwork, and the list goes on there. But those are certainly some of the big ones, the really influential ones. And the track suffers, in my opinion, in those parts, because you get the very typical, almost phoned in D beat from Shinya, and the track just kind of goes into that very one-dimensional aspect of Duran Gray's heavy sound. And even vocally, it doesn't feel like Keo's pushing the chaos and the aggression out as much as I'm used to hearing him before. Now, I certainly know that he's taking care of his voice more, and he's actually become more of a singer. As a trained singer, he's taken vocal lessons to try to minimize the impact on his voice. But I don't get that sense of aggression, that sense of danger, as much as I used to when I listened to those styles of passages. I think the highlights for me are the tension building moments, those sorrowful, mournful, electronic driven, atmospheric passages that lead into the heavy stuff. I wish they might have gone a little bit more of an Arake style and gone a little more progressive in those big moments, as opposed to stripping into the new wave of Swedish death metal stuff. I love the aggressive tones. I think guitar-wise, the guitar and bass tones sound incredible. I love the different textures of dissonance. I love the different I love the reverb and the delay on those tones. I love that stripped, aggressive riffing, very groovy riffing that you got in tracks like Utafumi off of Insulated World. And who knows, maybe the track grows on me. I do think the growls from Keo are probably some of the best I've heard as far as his low aggressives go. They're articulate. You can really make out what he's delivering, as opposed to just the typical mic cupped gurgle that he was using before. You could certainly tell he's made strides in that department. And lyrically, like a lot of the tension building passages, or like the track as a whole, to be honest, lyrically it's more simple. It's stripped down. Definitely fits in with the approach of Insulated World as a whole. So it's interesting that they chose to take this in a 10-minute length. Honestly, I think they could have cut out the break in between the heavy part and the last little third of the track, and combine that a little bit and made it a little shorter. That I think it might have fit a little better overall. There's incredibly powerful moments to it, and I'm really happy with the track. But I can't say on a single listen that it grips me as much as a lot of the other really powerful Duran Gray opus 10-minute plus length tracks do. It certainly doesn't hit me like something like Blossom, Beelzebub, Behind the Vacant Image, and a lot of their other just amazing, long, progressive styled tracks. Maybe it'll grow on me. I'm sure it probably will. But, and I hope it will. Because I wouldn't be surprised to see this live when I get a chance to see them in December in Houston. But overall, I think it's a solid single. I don't think it's an amazing, mind-blowing single. But I don't think it's the strongest single I've heard from them in a while. But I do think it is a very solid track. And I think vocally, it's probably some of the best we've heard from Keo in a while. And I certainly hope they stick with the style of mix for future tracks. Though I do hope they dial those drums down just a touch in the mix, because they do really dominate the track. Link to the lyrics will be in the description below. Link to the actual video will be in the description below. And I certainly cannot wait to see so many of you out in Houston. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you feel like the drums are phoned in like I do? And I know that I have been critical of Shinya, but I do really think that he's probably one of the weakest aspects of what these guys do. And I do love a lot of those patterns, but the aggressive stuff could be better if you had a more technical drummer. What do you guys think overall? Did it hit you? Did it grab you? Did it make you incredibly emotional? And I will be honest, I don't believe perfection exists, because it simply just doesn't. It's impossible to be perfect. So I'll never give anything a perfect score, and I'll never say something's perfect, because perfection doesn't exist. But I do think it's incredibly solid. Other than some personal taste things and some of the mix issues with the peaking. He did have some things that are really peaking and breaking. But overall, the mix sounded fantastic. I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say. Please no death threats this time. Thanks, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here and watching me cover Duran Gray for coming on 2 years. Been what? 21 months since I've been covering Duran Gray now. So thank you. Thank you to my law enforcement, military, veterans, first responders for what you guys do every single day. I love you. I appreciate you. As always, you have been awesome. I have been Baldman. I'll see you in the next one. Be excellent to each other and keep headbanging.